It's called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, and I was really interested in it when I first saw the postcard that the publisher sent out saying this book was coming out, because when I was in undergraduate school, I took a cell biology class. So when I went to school, my entire freshman class that was bio major or biology major had a class of 90 students. And by the time we made it to cell biology class, we had been sort of weeded out. When I took my cell biology class, there was about 12 of us. 2 of us were girls. So in our cell biology class, we had to do a research experiment that required us to come in and do tissue culture. So we learned how to do tissue culture, which, these days undergraduates don't do, but we learned how to do cell tissue culture, where we had to grow and keep cells growing. And the cells that we were using were called HeLaCells. So in the course of doing this experiment, there were a couple of weekends where we had to go in and spend 24 hours, or where we had 4 hours of wait for this, do this, and then wait another hour, and then do this, and then wait 45 minutes, and then do that, for a whole span of 24 hours. And the cells that we were using, as I mentioned, were the HeLaCells. And so the question always was, where did these come from? Well, we were told HeLa stood for Helen Lang. And so, we just sort of took that with our grain of salt and just went with it. Well, come to find out, 20 years later, that the cells were from a woman, an African-American woman by the name of Henrietta Lacks. And she had uterine cancer, or cervical cancer, and they took her cells, unbeknownst to her, and they were able to keep them going. So these were the cells that, made it into space, and for every experiment that was to be done on a human cell, these were the only human cells that were available because you could keep them going forever and ever. So it was always a very interesting story, and then when the postcard came out saying that, somebody actually, did a biography on the woman that the cells came from, it went through the whole story of, how she came to find out she had cancer. She felt it on herself. She went to the doctor, put in, radioactive isotopes in her body, and they left it there. It's just amazing. I mean, this wasn't that long ago. Well, it was kind of long ago. It was in the 40s or 50s. But, in the scheme of things, it wasn't that long ago. And it goes through the whole story of, how these cells, just made its way around the scientific community, and everybody started using them, and then people started getting rich off of them, and her family never knew that, those were her cells. These are the cells that went up into space. These were the cells that were used to make the polio vaccine. These are the cells that were used for almost every human cell experiment that's ever been done at some point in life. So I've made it a required reading for my class, and then come to find out that UC Berkeley requires it for their incoming freshman class, as well as a lot of the UCs. And it's become a very popular and renowned book. And I had the opportunity to actually meet the author and, of course, get my book autographed. And I took my Bio 6 class. So it was pretty awesome. My students never get the opportunity to do cell culture in our Bio 6 class, but eventually, if they stay in research, they will come across these cells, and they'll actually know the history behind it, as well as all of the other ethical ramifications of human study. Can't find it.
Is it in the back over there? You go.
There it is. So Rebecca Skloot actually signed her autograph on the book, and a lot of my class from a couple of years ago had theirs signed as well. Since then, we've done a lot of research projects on human testing and the rights of people when they have human testing done. And all of that came about because of Henrietta Lacks. And her story is really phenomenal. I tell my students, when I got the book, I actually bought it as a birthday present for Dr. Green Mariquin. But I just started flipping through the pages, and I couldn't put the book down until I was done. So it's actually a quick read.